Hey everyone, welcome to How We Innovate at Arizona State University. My name is Brent Siebold. I am a faculty member within the Ira A. Fulton Schools of Engineering. I'm also the Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the Fulton Schools, and I'm very proud to be joined by my co-host, Michael Houle, our sponsor.
Hi everybody.
Michael, it's so great to always have you back on set.
It's great to be here.
You have been a stalwart in the domain of technology entrepreneurship at ASU for decades now.
Yeah, stalwart in the domain, for sure. That's me. No, it's awesome.
It's true. That's how I introduce you.
Yeah, and it's been my privilege. It's been a pleasure. Like for many years now, been working with Brent and trying to do innovative things to support entrepreneurship. Try to see companies that have ideas and provide seed funding, and put a variety of programs together where they can meet other team members and build teams and then go on. And it's, we've been doing it long enough. We're finally starting to see companies that have had some successes. So it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And Michael, you are in the classroom as well here at Arizona State University. And we appreciate everything you and Houle Curry Law do philanthropically to help support our students. But Michael, we're joined by one of our favorite graduates of our master's degree program in innovation and venture development. Aspen is here on the show today. So, Aspen, it's so great to have you here. You've actually been a panelist in this series in the past.
Yep.
So now that you've graduated, you've been through both the school. The educational program we offer, but also more importantly the School of Hard Knocks out in the entrepreneurial.
And she also was in my class financing early stage ventures.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like it's exciting all around.
Yeah, so that's a great segue, Michael, because we've both known Aspen for about the exact same amount of time, dating back to last summer when she joined our master's program. I worked with her directly at the outset of that program, and then you got to meet Michael shortly thereafter in the class that he teaches within the law school. So before Michael and I had the privilege of meeting you, you had a long history as both an entrepreneurial thinker and as somebody that was an agent of change in startup scenarios, and then also just in your own life as a disruptor. I think I can go out on a limb and characterize you in that way. So if you wouldn't mind, for our audience, some of our audience has seen you before, but if you could go a little further back and tell us what got you excited about coming to ASU as a early stage entrepreneur, and maybe walk us through your time that you had to put up with Michael and me over the last year.
Walk us through your journey to get how you got from there to here. So that'd be good.
And then, of course, Michael, we're excited to hear what's been going on lately.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
To preview Aspen's story we're about to hear, we're very proud of her because she won a significant amount of grant funding from our colleague Scott Wald, who teaches a class within the W.P. Carey School of Business called New Venture Challenge. So it's very rare that we have one of the winners from Scott's class come in and talk us through that experience. So, Aspen, I'm going to be quiet now. Thank you so much for being here. And if you would, tell us what you're willing to tell us about your journey.
Well, thank you. It would be my pleasure. It has been absolutely an incredible journey from the beginning up until where I sit here today. I feel nothing but absolute privilege to be on this journey and to be in this life and to have academia support me in the ways that it has. ASU has been nothing but a total advocate for my dreams and who I've become, and I am sitting in front of two people that have really helped me along that journey, as well as with Professor Wald. And excited to get into it, but I am the founder and CEO of a company called Gatsby's. We are a personalized entertainment company located here in Phoenix. This dream began when I was 15 years old, and I won't get too into that, but the origins began back in my parents' basement when I was 15, trying to figure out how to create something more when someone steps into nightlife and entertainment. outside of trying to forget their problems and trying to forget themselves, but instead to be found. And so really channeling that industry to do something good and something that is very much so needed in this day and age with the epidemic of disconnect and loneliness that exists today. It's very prominent in all ages of life. And I knew at the beginning of my journey, fast forward from 15 years old to me moving to downtown Los Angeles by myself after my undergraduate degree at the University of Arizona. I was 22, alone in DTLA. I didn't know anyone. I knew I wanted to go on a entrepreneurial route, but I felt as though I needed a little bit more training in academia to stand upon, and that's something that as a founder, it is your responsibility to build your foundation properly, and whether that be through the School of Life, which is also the best way to learn, truly, but also finding other support in other ways. And I initially began my master's journey at DePaul. I transferred then to ASU into the Interdisciplinary Studies Master's program, which I'm still in now. And I wanted more of a focus on the entrepreneurial aspect of what I'm doing. So then I went into MSIVD, which is the Masters of Innovation and Venture Development program, which is where I met Brent. So throughout this journey, I had my reason why. I experienced it myself, the isolation and loneliness and wanting to find again where I was going and why I was going that way and the people I needed in my life in order to find that path and create that for myself. So that's what I created Gatsby's to do. I have a background in entertainment, and so that is the medium in which I intend to do so, and we are expanding outside of nightlife as well. But leading up until the MSIVD program, I was really just ready to learn. I was ready to learn and be a sponge, and that is what I did for the year and a half that I was in the MSIVD program, and I got the opportunity to take the Financing New Ventures class with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me up until graduating last summer from the MSIVD program. I went back to the other master's program that I'm still in to finish up. That is the program that I'm doing my own proprietary research in that supports the business, and that leads me up to now.
Now you'll be highly educated.
Yeah,
Pretty soon. Yeah.
I like to think that entrepreneurs, they need to be
Yeah.
academic weapons in a way. They
Yeah.
need to arm themselves with the tools that they need to face the world, because as you said, the world is your best teacher, and you're not prepared always for what it throws at you, but to be as prepared as you can is what academia really does in the entrepreneurship space.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, you've taken us all the way up to basically almost the end of your academics.
Yeah.
But why LA when you decided to go,
Yeah.
immerse?
Yeah, that's
so
a
to
great
speak?
question. And my answer is still the same as when I went. A lot of people had the same question as to why, and my answer was always, I need to go find out. I knew I needed to get out of Arizona. I grew up in a small town in Parker, Colorado, and I needed to go be in a big city, and LA was the draw for my heart. And I met so many incredible people there that were the people that supported me in a way that I'm building Gatsby's to now support others. And so they naturally did for me what I now intend to do for others. So I'm very glad that I went to Los Angeles. Back then I had a YouTube channel and I was in the content creator space, so there was also an inclination there that was potentially maybe a path to my purpose that I was going to take, and I do intend to go back to that. But with entertainment and it being close by to Arizona, it was the choice I made.
Seems like a natural.
Yeah, and I do potentially think I'm going to be going back there, that or San Francisco. So it's not a journey that's over
Right.
yet there.
How long were you there? How long
2
were you?
years.
Okay.
2 years.
And so during those 2 years, were you weren't in school at all?
No,
right?
I was
Okay.
employed. I
Okay.
worked for a large-scale tech company
Okay.
that worked in entertainment as well. It was called Pollen. And I spent 3 years with that company. I was the EA to the CEO, the EA to the CMO. I traveled with the CEO, got a crash course.
So you picked up a lot of skills there that you're
Yes.
now able. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
So I'm a student by life and a student by
Yeah.
academia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
definitely.
how did you end up at Pollen? Was it, I mean, my understanding of Pollen as an entertainment tech company is that it was a very entrepreneurial firm. were you drawn to its entrepreneurial problem solving pursuits, or did they recruit you kind of just, or was it just, hey, I need a job and they're hiring?
Yeah, so funny story. I actually went to Los Angeles to work a corporate job. I lasted 3 days and I quit. And I had a part-time role within a other startup called Leaps. At the time, I was their marketing director there. And I needed another, something to help support myself, and I had one connection from Pollen when they were doing different things at the University of Arizona, and I gave him a call and said, hey, are you guys hiring at all? And he was actually hiring for a role on his team, and so I got in at a very entry-level recruiting role, and then I moved up into the EA and to the CEO role, did
Wow.
that for a year, and that was, as soon as he figured out that I wanted to start my own company, he really did take it upon himself to teach me.
Wow.
And let me experience what a Series C, full-fledged global entertainment firm was. And so that, I'm very grateful for him. I'm very grateful for my tenure at Pollen. It really did teach me a lot of things that academia couldn't. But needless to say, both are important.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's kind of so far the steps you've taken, they've all seemed to fit with where you wanted to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Most entrepreneurs that I know, if they really think about it seriously, they look at the steps they've taken and they're like, wow, these all came together nicely. But they also feel like it doesn't matter where you would have dropped me, I would have still made it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Would you have been able to, do you think, if you went to Chicago, or you think LA was just something special because of the entertainment?
I really think that my path has taught me a lot of things that I could have learned elsewhere, but to me it's all about the characters. It's who you're going along with this journey with, and I think that I met some very key influences in LA that I probably could have met in Chicago or elsewhere, but LA was the first place that I saw entrepreneurs around my own age that had launched companies at USC, and they were only, a year, 2 years older than me, but I looked up to them, and I, for the first time, got to see, I'm not insane, I can do this, and I realized that, they had this since freshman year, their undergrad, that they wanted to do entrepreneurial endeavors, and I didn't, so that's why I pursued a master's, because I didn't necessarily have that business background yet. So I think that I could have done it anywhere, but this was the path that was meant for me.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to get to the point of some people don't have the ability to just kind of, I'm going to move to LA, for whatever reason in their life. Some of them have families. I mean, an entrepreneur can happen in any stage of life. But like if you're really dedicated, I think you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, I believe that.
It just might be harder in some places than others, but just more hurdles, that's all.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that as long as you have that fire within you, and wherever you are, you will craft a space for your dream. And that is one of the biggest challenges and blessings that you get to do as an entrepreneur.
So when you arrived back in Arizona, specifically here in Tempe with Arizona State University, you had a very clear understanding of the problem that you were wanting to solve, and you had a very clear hypothesis of the solution, how the solution was going to work. Then I think you quickly articulated, hey, I can deliver a lot of value on my own, but I feel like I need a co-founder to help with the scaling of the solution from a technological standpoint. So as Michael mentioned during our intro, he supports, and I do a lot of work to bring founders together from different disciplines, from the schools of engineering, from our W.P. Carey School of Business, from our School of Design, and we host a biannual event called Tiki Palooza that brings people that are interested in the world of entrepreneurship together to meet and hopefully co-found companies. And we've had a couple of success stories in that work, but I know you had a chance to meet a technical co-founder to complement your business and psychological skills. And I love the fact that she describes herself as educational, what'd you call it? Educational
Academic weapon.
academic weapon. I'm going to totally change my my signature block now. But your co-founder was a techie, a developer, a
Correct.
coder. So if you wouldn't mind, share with Michael and I how you two found each other and ultimately started this conversation about solving for X in this problem space.
Of course. So my co-founder and I, he was actually one of my members, and so we met through the business. He had the same problem that he was looking to solve.
Interesting.
And we decided that, it would be a good opportunity to try and work together, and we did for the past year or so. We have recently separated and gone our separate ways, and it has all been an incredible learning experience, and I think that when you're building a dream as close to heart as I am, you have to make sure that the wheel doesn't turn even an inch. And that was something that I learned the hard way. Whereas at the beginning of the program, at the beginning of Gatsby's journey, I never intended it to be an AI company. And from January up until September, it somehow turned into an AI company. And I would be a fool to say that we will never use AI. I believe that we will use AI as a tool, the same as technology. We are a technology-enabled company, but it is a tool. It is not our product. And somewhere along the lines of taking on a technical co-founder, the wheel in February turned just 2 inches. I wasn't paying attention closely. And I woke up in September and realized we were nowhere near where I intended to go. And I was pitching a product that didn't feel like my own. It wasn't what I intended to build. It wasn't my dream. It wasn't my purpose. And it was a great product. It was a great product. It was something that could do extremely well. But it was up to me to pull the plug and say, no, this isn't right.
Yeah, so that was September.
Yeah, that was September.
So what have you done since then to kind of get things back the way you envisioned?
We've been rebuilding. I have had to make a lot of cut downs on our team, and I am now working with a dev shop based in Los Angeles. So I think that it's important for people considering co-founders, and I just want to premise this in saying that my co-founder is a wonderful person. He is a wonderful engineer. I wish nothing but the best for him, and it was a pleasure to work with him in the time that we did work together. He will do great things. But for me as an entrepreneur and someone who is so close to the dream at hand, it is better for me to hire out that sector of the business. And so I have hired out now a dev team in Los Angeles that is now building a mobile app. It's going to take a little bit into next year to finalize. So the business is at a standstill somewhat until then, which is okay. And I am taking care of the members as much as I can, so be it. But the biggest aspect that I've had to take into consideration over the last few months is to how to make my product more human again, because inherently I am creating human connection within our entertainment experiences that are personalized and tailored to the individuals at hand, what they want out of life, and does that even extend into a single night, or does it extend outside of a single night and go into the life and day-to-day life that people are living? So I've been really playing with the timelines of where we're servicing our members and where these events are. Is all of the service happening within one experience, or is it happening throughout a month? And that's something that I have changed significantly and will be relaunching upon. We are rebranding. We are doing a whole...
Can you just step back, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I think it would be helpful for the listeners and myself to just understand exactly like what the experience is.
Yeah.
Like what does your product do?
Of course.
How does the customer engage?
Yeah, of course. So there are Gatsby's members, so that our community... They give us information on who they are, what they're looking for, whether it be personally, professionally, platonically, romantically, but more in general, where they want to go with their life, what they want their purpose to be, and how it is we can help them get there. And so this is twofold. This is experiences you have with other people, so introducing them to the right other individuals. This could be a business partner, a professional relationship in a different essence, or a friendship, or a romantic partner. But it can also be moments with yourself and really giving people the environment in which they can have those moments with themselves and really feel the magic that life has to offer again, that is sometimes removed out of the mundane daily activities of life. So we take information from our clients and I design experiences around who they are and what they need. And there's 3 different membership tiers that are going to be rolling out, and each has a little bit more intricacy to it when it comes to the data collected. The final tier is new. It's a very, very human nuance where I will be personally coaching these individuals one-on-one and advocating for them within the experiences in a way that wasn't being done with our AI product,
Right.
where it was entirely data entry and then an AI came up with a summary as to why those 2 people should meet at the experiences. And it was great. It worked. It created a fine summary, but even from the beginning of me creating Gatsby's, that was actually something I was very adamant to not do, is to not give information to the other individuals. So say if you and I are supposed to meet at this experience, in life you don't get a crib sheet. You don't get a cheat sheet.
Right.
And I think that that's something that is wrong with the dating apps, is that you're already making predetermined judgments about another person before meeting them naturally.
Yeah.
So I am eliminating some portions of that and all the different things, but we are basically creating magic in the sense where you believe in yourself, you believe in your purpose, and you believe in the relationships that you're making along the way.
So the introduction of AI earlier on, I'm assuming was designed to help scale the magic,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So you're a smart person, you're pivoting away from the AI as a scalable mechanism, but you're still thinking about how do I impact as many people with this problem as possible.
Correct.
So do you need to replicate yourself?
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
And that is
Yeah.
the model.
You
And
pretty much have to.
Yeah, that is the model. I mean, I told you before this that I in no way, shape, or form am going to call myself a life coach, but I am getting certified to be one. I would much rather call myself a purpose coach because that is something I am incredibly clear on. And with the AI, I would be a fool to say that we'll never use AI. I think that we definitely will use AI in the back end to help people on my team, myself, orchestrate the different aspects of the business, but it will never be our front-facing product. And again, another thing I was saying is that one of my role models that speaks in Los Angeles, he uses the example of mushroom eaters. And mushroom eaters, back when we were foragers.
Not the mushrooms you're thinking of. Okay, these are regular mushrooms.
Yeah, no, not those mushrooms. Just normal, normal mushrooms. There's mushroom eaters that would basically be the first to eat the mushrooms, and whether they would be poisonous and you would die, or not poisonous and you would not die. And more often than not, I am a mushroom eater. I will more often than not eat the mushroom and see whether or not I die first. But when it comes
A lot of
to
entrepreneurs, I think, fall into that category.
yes, definitely so. But when it comes to the AI aspect of the business, I am stepping away from being a mushroom eater at this time because, I mean, with all of the developments that are happening so rapidly, I mean, OpenAI just took out a whole sector of chatbot, innovations and companies in a matter of a day. So I'm stepping back out of that arena a little bit and focusing on truly how to make my company and product the best it can be in a human way, because the one thing AI can't do is feel, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm pretty convinced, you're onto something, Michael, as you likely know. Regardless of the AI component, Aspen went on from our tutelage in the fall term to last spring, convincing a board of very seasoned entrepreneurs and executives that are connected with ASU New Venture Challenge that this problem is legitimate. It's a growing problem, and you've got a very compelling solution, technology notwithstanding. So you were capitalized in the last spring
Yes.
to bring this solution to market, and you did do that in a variety of different ways. And since that time, you've raised additional capital, and this is where I understand you're pivoting away from having the in-house development of your former co-founder to now leveraging this capital to finance the technology you need.
Correct.
To be the foundation of this personal coaching / scale process of cloning yourself and
Yeah.
and having people that you're training to do this high touch
Yeah.
solution oriented service. So
Yeah.
I'm curious because actually this is a question Michael would typically ask, but
I'll ask it then.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Then I
No,
have
go
a
ahead. You ask
oh,
it.
okay. Yeah. So obviously you took Michael's capital
Yes.
course, new venture capital course, right? Where you focus on the
Early
finance.
stage financing. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
yeah, I knew I was butchering the
Yeah,
name of the
that's all right.
class, but could you speak to your experience with managing both grant and equity capital during this early stage where there's a lot going on?
Yeah.
And you have legal challenges, right?
Yes.
I know Michael isn't your legal counsel, but you were connected with legal support before you arrived at
Yeah.
ASU.
Yeah.
So maybe walk us through some of the big learning moments you've had with having money in the bank account and then having challenges in addition to your customers, right? Trying to serve your customers, you're also trying to put out fires on your team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course. So the most important thing, I mean, tying back to being an academic weapon is,
love that
which
term.
I can't believe I actually said that on this podcast. I don't really think
We're going to coin it. I mean, that is now a thing.
I already filed a trademark. I texted my office.
Great.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it goes in line with that. I don't want to say trust no one because I think trust is very important, but I think that you should only trust to a certain extent. And to that extent is how much you know. And again, going back to your responsibility being as the founder, knowing as much as you possibly can know and have tools in your tool belt, because no one is going to care as much as you do. No one is going to double, triple check as much as you do. And having a good legal background from your class in financing and looking over different contracts and not just going to my lawyers and saying, okay, here, handle this. And not to say that I don't trust them, but as much as the ball can remain in your court, the better. And kind of going back to the co-founder situation too, is with this dev shop, I am going to be in every call, I am going to see every moderation, I am going to see everything. And I understand that at a certain point I'm going to have to let go and let my team and let someone else do things. But you should always be in as much as you physically can. And in any capacity of stepping back a little bit, when you still have more to give, you're no longer doing your job as a founder. And so with your course, empowering me in ways that when I am financing and when I am fundraising, I do feel as though I don't have to completely lean on someone else in order to find answers. It gives me an ability to show up better and show up not only for my company, but for who I'm serving and for my team and making sure that this is right. And it's so important to not sit on your haunches, I think is what it's called. And so many different phrases.
Rest on your laurels.
Yeah, exactly.
Found another trademark.
Yeah, it's so important to not just take things for granted and let other people do the work that you can still do. And that was an opportunity that your class gave me and will continue to have as I move forward. I actually have some really interesting ways that I do want to go about financing eventually that comes with tokenization, and when I have more capital in order to structure that is something that your class empowered me to be able to feel like I can do and not say, oh, I'm not a lawyer, I can't do that, or I can't. Yeah,
I think it's a cool thing in today's world for entrepreneurs that didn't exist before, where you have access to information a lot more, and I think people are fools not to take advantage of it because it levels the playing field in a lot of interactions that you're going to have in the business world. And the investment scenario is just one of them, where you don't have to go to the investor and they have all the information and they have all the power in the relationship. Now you can have as much as them. And so what median valuations are, all the stuff that you never knew before. So I think young entrepreneurs need to do whatever it takes to get the information that they need when they're going to do a deal with someone, regardless of what it is, but just get on the same level of playing field with them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what you did, and I think that's great. I think that's a good model. It's a
Yeah.
good model to follow.
Yeah.
Also, what you described over the last 6 months, it just sounds like a lot of work, right? So
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, showing up, taking responsibility for every aspect is hard, right?
is hard.
It's extremely difficult. The execution side of entrepreneurship, a lot of people myself included, get wrapped up in the ideation
Yep.
phase and how fun it is to come up with solutions to problems in all facets of life. But
Yeah.
when the rubber hits the road, it's
Yeah.
it's just flat out hard work.
It will take everything from you. And I don't say that lightly. For any young entrepreneur that's out there,
She's a seasoned entrepreneur. She's like
This year.
she gained decades of
of experience in a
Experience,
matter
yeah.
of months. But it will make you the bad guy at certain points. It will cost you friendships, relationships, people that you care about. But what you have to do is just keep servicing who you're meant to service.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to keep careful care of the fire inside of your heart that's keeping you going.
Yeah.
And that's something that when the real world comes in and knocks you down, it's all about how many times you can stand back up again. And entrepreneurship is truly not a matter of how much you know. It's not a matter of who you know. It's not a matter of how much capital you can raise. It is truly how many times you can stand back up again and how many times you can get creatively knocked down and still one more time stand back up again and go serve who you are intended to serve. And if you don't have that fire inside your heart, and if you're not willing to put everything on the line, and I mean everything, your own value, your mental health, which is a whole other aspect, your company could kill you. It could, but you can't let it. And that is the truth. That is the truth. And I'm still a very young entrepreneur, but from what I've experienced, I now know I can handle anything that it throws at me. Standing up this last time has been incredibly hard, but I stood up.
I have two things that I just thought of when you were saying that. One is, I've probably said that here before, but I watched, I think like 10 entrepreneurs do a little tour of the Tesla factory with Elon Musk. And, they were able to ask him questions and stuff, because they wanted to be him. Mm-hmm. And they said, what's your advice? Like if someone wants to be an entrepreneur. And you know what his answer was?
What?
He said, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I believe it.
And then he goes, if you just try not to do it and you absolutely have to do it, then go ahead and do it. But it's hard.
Yeah.
And that was he saying. It's not for the faint of heart. So
No.
he just said, don't do it. Go get a job. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I think there's part of what you're saying is getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you just, it's built in you, and you've been able to hone that to now know you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing that when it happens. But the other thing that I think entrepreneurs that are successful develop quickly is figuring out who to listen to.
Yes.
Because you're going to get all kinds of noise.
Yes.
And a lot of it is going to be discouraging and bring you down. And I mean, you want realism, but at the same time,
Yes.
you have to just say, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
And a simple example is, don't be looking at all these people on social media giving comments down. Don't even mess with that. Those people are nut jobs.
Yes. Yes.
They're going to mess with your brain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the definition of entrepreneurship is that you're putting something totally new into the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one judges a doctor for becoming a doctor necessarily, maybe in some ways, but no one's quick to judge in that sense.
Right.
Whereas if you're putting something brand new, especially something very close to your heart, into the world in that way, you really have to be careful about who you let inside your head. And I mean, this is coming from a person where I've been called uncoachable before. I have been called, things of the sorts, but I don't believe I'm uncoachable. I believe I'm passionate. And just because I don't back down in certain ways doesn't mean that I won't listen to the right voices. Mm-hmm. I have incredible advisors that have helped me tremendously, but I've also told them, on this, I'm not listening to you. And to be an advisor to an entrepreneur like that, you need to know that they're listening to their fire. And sometimes they might not be as coachable, but then again, it's not the advisor's company, it's the founders. So yeah, definitely listening to the voices, and also the voices inside your own head that are telling you can't do it, because those sometimes can be the loudest, and you have to be stronger than them.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is huge in this domain, and it's difficult. So I'm glad you brought that up. But I want to piggyback off that and say I'm really excited, because in the entrepreneurial class that I teach, both the undergraduate and at the graduate level, we always start with, what do you care about, right? Yeah. And I love that you talked about, your venture is so close to your heart. It's something that, despite all of the setbacks, despite all the challenges, despite all the hard work, I think Scott Wald and your equity-based investors made a good bet, because you have the fire, you have that tenacity, and it's tied to this deep-rooted passion around the problem and the gap that you've recognized since you were 15 years old.
Yeah.
So I personally don't see you giving up, certainly anytime soon. And as we know in the world of entrepreneurship, if you just keep, as you said, getting back up and every single day trying to figure out a creative means of either going over, around, under, or through the obstacle, you are going to find product market fit. Yeah. I have no doubt.
Yeah,
when I look at somebody like you, because Michael, you know this. I mean, generally the difference between success and failure is just steady execution.
Yeah.
And then timing. Something, not luck, but something will happen.
Yeah.
Unforeseen in many cases, that just causes your steady drumbeat to just become, a hockey stick.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to make sure that whatever you're building is tied to that fire. Because, I can remember instances where the last few venture capitalists I was pitching, I remember walking them through the demo and explaining things, and the fire just wasn't there. And
for you or for them?
For me. They were interested, and I couldn't get it to turn on. And I was sitting in that room, in rooms that I fought so incredibly hard to be in.
Yeah.
So hard. And I could think of 1,000 other places I would rather be.
Wow.
I didn't want to be there. I was very grateful for their time, but I knew that there was deeper problems at hand. And when it came to winning Wald's funding, I had advisors who were a part of, the room that was, collectively deciding on who was getting capital and who wasn't. And the feedback that I got was that one of my advisors asked at the very end of my presentation, why this? Why this problem? Why this company? And my passion got to shine through.
Yeah.
And that is what got me over the line. That is what got me that amount of funding. And so if you remove that, you have nothing. You won't win.
Pro tip.
Yeah, I was just there was one other thing about because I'm intrigued by it's a common pattern of getting back up, because you're going to get smacked around a lot of different ways.
I'm sure 1,000 more times.
But the thing is, it's not a massive undertaking to get back up, because I like the quote from one of the people in the business world for entrepreneurs that I kind of have worked with and track. Tim Draper always says, look, it's all you need to do is take one little step. One little step, and then look around again. Like wherever you were at, you look around, it looks like there's no way. There's all these problems. But if you take one step and then look around again, the scenery will be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you'll have opportunity that you didn't see before.
Yep.
So it's all you got to do is take one little step at a time. You don't have to conquer the world by getting back up, right? You just take a little step.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also really important when you do get knocked down significantly that you do take a beat. You do take when it's necessary. Not every time. Not every time you get knocked down, you can't take a beat. But when you do, it's a long journey ahead. If you really get taken down by something, take a bit, make sure your mental health is okay, because I think that when you're leading something, you are entirely focused on other people and making sure everybody else is okay, and you have to have your own foundation in place where in the back of your mind, I'm okay. And so really taking that time, and can be a week, it can be going to go to dinner with a friend, it can be anything. But whatever you need to take it first, because if you don't, then you can't help others, and then you're also not doing your job.
Excellent advice from a young but very
I'm still young. I'm still very young. I'm only 27.
very seasoned.
You have scars that we can't see.
Thank God. Thank God.
Wow, what a pleasure to have a former panelist on our show, quasi audience member, somebody kind of learning in the same way that we learn from founders, kind of get an opportunity to sit on the other side of the table. And really proud of you, Aspen, going through this journey over the last 12 months with us at ASU. And we certainly want you to keep us apprised as you rebrand, rebuild, relaunch, and then that product market fit is going to click in. I know it will.
Thank you.
And then you have to come back again
Hey,
after all that's done.
I'll have some more exciting updates this time.
Absolutely, yeah. Or you fly us to wherever you are, and we'll do an on-site interview on some private island that Aspen is overseeing for all of her members. So, Aspen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for you and your support as well. So. We're going to wrap up this segment of How We Innovate, and we've got some audience members with us virtually, and we've got some great questions that have come in for Aspen. So if you can stick around, we'll have various Q&A available. So thanks so much for being here. Go Devils.